Hello and welcome to this first lecture of this new section on AI literacy. In this course, AI Essentials for MBA Students. So, in this particular lecture, we will talk about three things. What is AI, what is machine learning, and what is generative AI for the use and knowledge of MBA students, right? So, let's take a look at that. So how do you think, what do you think is AI, machine learning and generative AI from the perspective of MBA students? Any thoughts on that? For MBA students, understanding artificial intelligence, machine learning and generative AI is less about programming and more about how these technologies affect business decisions, strategy, and competitive advantage. Now, what are the various things that you should know about them, what they are, and what should you know about them? Let's take a look at them in more detail. So, first, artificial intelligence. So, what is it? So, artificial intelligence, in simple managerial term, is refers to computer systems designed to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. So those computer systems that are designed to perform tasks that you and I, as earlier used to do, or still do. And these tasks would include things like recognizing patterns by analyzing large amount of data, making predictions to support decision making, and automate routine processes. Now, AI systems can learn from data, right? And improve their performance over time along as they go along on their own. So they don't need to be continuously programmed, fed the data. They can pick the data, learn from there, and improve their performance over time. So that's what AI is for MBA students. Then let's take a look at few examples that you will see in business, right? So in marketing, you will see customer personalization, recommendation systems that you see on think places like Netflix, right? And on Starbucks, various places. In finance, you will see fraud detection, credit scoring happens every day with all the banks. In operations, you can see demand forecasting, supply chain optimization. In HR, you will see resume screening, workforce analytics, and strategy. You can see market intelligence, and comparative analysis. So these are few examples that AI would do in the area, in the domain of MBA students, right? Then let's look at apart from what we have told you now here, AI is a wide subject. So we have given you a very first level understanding of what AI is. So what else should you know about AI? So, you as an MBA student should understand where AI creates business value. And that's going to be a continuous process because AI will keep creating business value in new and new ways. So you need to keep finding those out. Now, which business problems can AI solve? And this is again a continuously evolving area. And how AI can support management decision making, again a continuous evolution. And parallelly, you should learn what are the limitations of using AI and what are the risks associated with that. Some of that we will talk about, but this is a continuous process to learn. Now, these MBA students, you as an MBA student should not necessarily learn how to build AI models. That's not what you need to worry about. That's the job of programmers and software developers or AI engineers. But what you should know is how to use AI insights effectively. So that's in nutshell a first level understanding of AI. Then let's take a look at machine learning. What machine learning is. Now, machine learning is a subset of AI. It refers to systems that learn patterns from data and improve predictions without being explicitly programmed for every rule. So earlier, the programs used to be fed the rules. Now here, machine learning forms the rules by looking at data. So instead of being told exactly what to do, machine and the systems learn by analyzing large data sets. Say, for example, if a company wants to predict which customers may leave, customer churn problem. A traditional program would require many manually coded rules, and machine learning analyzes customer behavior data and learns patterns automatically. So that's, in nutshell, the machine learning for you. Now, what are the types of machine learning? You know, there are for MBAs, like students like you only need the conceptual knowledge of three types. What you see here: supervised learning, which is used when historical labeled data exists. Examples: sales forecasting, credit risk prediction, customer churn prediction. Then there is unsupervised learning. It is used to identify hidden pattern in data. For example, customer segmentation, market clustering, anomaly detection. And the third is the reinforcement learning, where systems improve through trials and error like human beings. And the examples of that are dynamic pricing, recommendation engine, and autonomous decision system. So these are the types of machine learning for you. Then what more should you learn about machine learning? You know, so you should understand the role of data quality. You should keep learning the role of data quality. How ML improves prediction, that's another thing you should learn. How machine learning supports automation and optimization, because one of your roles would be to support automation and optimization, to do that, to improve business performances. And also, you should know of business cases, use cases of machine learning. Where has machine learning helped and how? And most importantly, you as manager must know how to interpret machine learning results for decision making. So these are the things you need to learn about machine learning. The last thing we need to, so what is generative AI? Now, generative AI refers to AI systems that create new content based on patterns learned from large data sets. They can generate text, images, audios, codes, videos, and they can also generate business insights. Now, popular generative AI models include systems like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini. Let's take a look at a few examples of where and how the generative AI is used in business. In marketing, it is used for ad copy creation, campaign ideas, and content generation. In strategy, it is used for comparative analysis, summaries, and scenario generation. In finance, it is used for financial report summarization and for forecasting explanation. In HR, it is used for writing job descriptions and training materials, creating training materials. And in customer service, it is used as AI chatbots and automated support responses. So these are few examples of using generative AI in business. Right. So apart from this starting knowledge about generating AI, what else should MBA students like You know, you should learn about prompting skills. We talked about prompting being a key MBA skills where you can put the business problem in front of AI, generative AI, and ask it to generate options for your strategies, where you learn how to ask structured questions to get high quality outputs. Also, you should learn about AI assisted analysis, where you can use AI, generative AI, to evaluate business cases and strategies. Third, you can use it for productivity improvements. We can use AI for faster research, analysis, and communication. And what also you should learn about what are the limitations of generative AI. Now, AI generative AI can sometimes produce incorrect or biased information, so you must verify the outputs. So we will talk about these limitations as we go forward, and you will learn a little more about them. So that's what you should know about generative AI more. What are the key differences between AI, machine learning, and generative AI? Now, AI handles broad concepts of intelligent machines. It's an umbrella concept, an overarching concept. Machine learning is about making prediction. It's the prediction engine that where AI learns from the past data and makes prediction. And generative AI is the content creation engine in AI that creates new content. So these are the key differences. So one is an umbrella concept, another is more focused only on data and learning from data, third, creating content. So these are the key differences between the three areas of AI. Now, how should you learn about AI? Now, you should use AI as a thinking partner rather than a shortcut, not as a tool, but as a thinking partner. And where can you use AI as a thinking partner? AI can help in generating ideas. Gen AI can do that. Analyzing data, machine learning can help you do that. Exploring scenarios, again, generative AI can do that. And summarizing research. But you must note that the final decision must remain with you as a human being. So use AI to generate ideas, analyze ideas, explore scenarios, summarize research, but make the final decision yourself. So what's the final insight we can draw in this lecture? The future managers will not compete against AI, but they will compete against other managers who know how to use effectively AI, right? How to use AI effectively. Now, successful MBA graduates will combine business frameworks that they will learn, you will learn in your institute, in your education, data driven thinking that you can learn from AI, AI assisted insights that you can draw from AI and apply your human judgment. So you are in a wonderful place doing MBA to learn about the business concept, use data to think, and use AI to draw insights and apply your own judgment. This combination will define the AI augmented manager of the future, right? So thank you so much for watching this first lecture on AI literacy. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions, and do download the PDF file to take a look at anything that you need to.